Good morning, good morning, good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in the world. We have a special guest today, and we're going to talk about the power of live video. So if you have ever wanted to have a fabulously successful business, I tell you, live video is the fastest path to that. And yet so many people kind of stay away. They're not quite sure. But today's story, or today's guest, has a powerful story around how she has leveraged live video to do incredible things. Like, her story is so fascinating. And today we're going to talk more about the story, because I think the story is more important than maybe the mechanics. So it's not going to be a lot of mechanics about live video. So if that's what you're looking for, you're probably not going to get it. But you are going to get the actual not just theory, but actually how she's been able to leverage live video so effectively. So as you guys are coming in, just give me a shout out. Where in the world are you? I am back in Tampa, Florida this morning. I'm so excited. I've been in Virginia taking care of my 96-year-old dad. I hated to leave him. I did, but I have to say, I left him in good hands. I left him with my sister, so she's taking good care of him. And it is good to be home for a little bit anyway. I'll be home for a few months, and the weather here is slightly or a lot different than it was in Virginia. Good morning, Paul. So glad to see you. Karen from St. Louis. So how about that game last night, right, Karen? Thank you, Sue. So yeah, this is a new look, new year, needed to do something different. I think I'm going to go purple next. What do y'all think? Mary Ellen is from Tampa. Good to see you, Tampa. Cynthia says Nebraska watching a snowstorm. Yes. So Sue's saying they're supposed to get a big storm today. Yeah, I see that. I saw it on the news earlier that a lot of it looks like the whole northeast part of the U.S. is going to be getting it pretty tough today. So let me do a quick introduction for those of you who've never been on one of my shows before. My name is Kim Garst. I've owned an online business for almost 30 years. So trying to encompass everything that I do into a one-worder or a one-liner or whatever is kind of hard. But at its root, I'm really passionate about sharing my knowledge and bringing others to share their knowledge so that you can shorten your learning curve, so that you don't have to struggle so hard. As you, like I say, I see so many, snow fight. That would be so awesome. I have to say that we did get snow a few times when I was in Virginia, and it was amazing. Okay, so just a couple of other things. I forgot to introduce myself, didn't I? I started and then I forgot. So that's just the beauty of live video, y'all. So my name is Kim Garst, like I said before. If you are brand new and never been on my show before, please just drop in #new. I would love to wave and say, hey. Yes, go Bucks, right? So we're excited, obviously. So the Tampa Bay Lightning won the Stanley Cup. So wouldn't it be awesome? Like, super awesome. The Rays failed us, but we still got hope in the Bucks. Okay. Quick shout out to today's sponsor. Our sponsor today is the Go Social Content Club. If you have ever sat down in front of your computer and you just had a brain cramp, like, what am I going to post on social media today? The Go Social Media Content Club is a solution to that. It's pre-designed, professionally designed content that is designed to engage your community or get people to engage with you. No more stressing, no more pulling your hair out. If that's something you would be interested in having a solution for, go check out GoSocialContentClub.com. We're going to be giving away 3 one-month trials to the Go Social Content Club today on this show. We're also going to be giving away, get this, y'all, 2 Clubhouse invites. Now, I don't know if you've heard about Clubhouse, but Clubhouse is a new platform, fairly new. I'm not quite sure if it's a social platform yet. It's definitely a networking platform. And a lot of amazing stuff is happening there. In fact, I connected with today's guest on Clubhouse. So I'm super excited about that. I've met a lot of amazing people over on Clubhouse. If you are not there yet and you have an iPhone, you could enter to win today. So how do you enter to win? You enter to win by dropping in your hashtag moments, or, if you hear something that's like, oh my gosh, that's so amazing, just drop those in with a hashtag aha. That's how we choose our winners. So Sue is saying her podcast this week is all about Clubhouse. Yes, it's so amazing. So, hey, Angela, good to see you, girl. And then, thank you, Lydia. Thank you. Yeah, it's beginning to lighten up already. But and Kelly, girl, hey, it is a shame we didn't get a chance to connect while I was in Virginia, but I'll be back in a few months. Maybe we can do it when I come back. Okay, so like I say, today we're going to focus in on our special guest. I am super excited about having her. Like I shared before, let me pull something up here real quick. I omitted to pull it up, and I'm gonna have to pull this up on. When you first get back home and you're on your computer, a computer that you haven't been on for a while, and you're like, oh. I haven't logged into this yet. Well, that's kind of where I am right now. I'm like, oh, I haven't logged into that yet. So I need to, when you need something, right? Hello, Sunshines. Hey, Lynn, good to see you. Okay, hold on just a second, guys. I am so sorry you're having to wait on me. I meant to pull this up, and I'm usually so organized when it comes to this, but I tell you what, instead of me getting all wrapped up about not being organized, we're not going to worry about that. Okay. So I'm going to bring on Naomi, and I'm going to ask Naomi to introduce herself and share a little bit about who she is. Like I shared with you a moment ago, I met Naomi on Clubhouse. Hey, Naomi.
Hey.
Now, I want to invite everybody to say, hey, Naomi. Okay, just drop it on in down under there. You are going to love her. I promise you're going to love her. So Naomi, introduce yourself and share a little bit about who you are.
Okay, thank you so much, Kim, for having me. First things first, like we could not have planned the outfits. Like seriously, no way. But I am, yes, I mean, this is such pure coincidence, but I'm so delighted and so honored to be here. My name is Naomi Osemedua. I live in Nigeria. So I'm in the capital city of Abuja. And I am a mindset coach and brand visibility strategist, teaching you how to go from backstage to center stage as you leverage digital media platforms, preferably live videos. I went from being a stay-at-home mom in 2015 with no tech experience and just with my smartphone and internet connection, plus the Periscope app. I have gone on to build two global brands. I've become a two-time TEDx speaker, a published author, and in the last 3 years, I have had the singular honor of speaking on 4 continents. So that's a brief.
Wow. Okay, can y'all just say like, wow already? Like, wow. It is fascinating to me because I've heard so many amazing stories about the power of live video, but yours, I think, might just take the cake, seriously.
Wow.
When you started with live video, like me, we started on Periscope, right? In the early days, we call it. Like even when Periscope first came out, like how did you find it? Like, well, let me back up for a second. I think a lot of times, and I just like to maybe deal with this right out the gate. I think sometimes we think here in the US and maybe other places that when you live like in Nigeria that you don't have things that, which, right? I mean, there's that misconception and I would love it if you would like talk about that real quick, because I do think that there is definitely a misconception around availability to tech and things like that.
Oh my goodness. And that's one of the things that really inspired me when I started my journey on Periscope, because I would usually say this is the part that you would never see in the media, right? And so I would pretty much do a tour like this is Abuja. We don't leave on trees. We've got beautiful homes. I mean, sometimes I go on the news, international media, and I'm just devastated seeing all the negative things that they want to say about my beautiful home. Yeah, I know we got issues, but I don't know if there's any country out there that doesn't have its own peculiar issues, right? But Nigeria is a beautiful place and it's my home. And yes, we've got tech, we've got everything going on here, like you would see in most countries. Yeah, so when I got on Periscope, I could now, respond to that. I was following someone on Facebook, and she was building her network marketing business. And she talked about a platform called Periscope. I admired her work, and I just was like, I'm gonna go check this out. And so I found out about Periscope out of curiosity. I was curious, right? And that's how I got on. I just didn't know what to do with it, but I had to go check it out. And so sometimes I think it's important, like I know Kim talked about Clubhouse. A lot of people are still like, what's going on? Like what's all the fuss about it? Just go check it out because I went to check out Periscope and all of these amazing things have happened to me over the years.
That's so awesome. So you talked about being a stay-at-home mom, and that's a
Yeah.
powerful job. I don't,
Oh
same here.
yes.
When I started my business, I wanted to be able to stay home with my little, right? And I only had the
Yeah.
one at the time, but that is a powerful, powerful thing. And it is a big job. And the fascinating part now that we have access to so many things at our fingertips where we as women can, or dads too. There are some stay-at-home dads.
Yeah.
Both, like, right, we can still manage to do what we want to do and be
Mhm.
there for our littles and do something bigger. But when you started, did you have a vision for the bigger? I mean, like, what did that look like when, like, can you tell us a little bit about like the first time you went live?
Oh my God, it was so scary. So I got on Periscope and for weeks I was just watching people, go live and I would hear, hey, John, welcome from the UK. Hello, Pat. Hello from Australia. And I was like, whoa, this is really cool. Like people are coming in from different parts of the world and everyone is just connecting. I was intrigued by it. And I remember so well. It was October 11th. It was just a few minutes past 6 p.m. local time here. And I was listening to Janine Cummins, and she was teaching about, Periscope and how it was this new thing and everyone just needed to jump on. And she said something I will never forget. She said, there will never be a perfect time for you to start. And up until that moment, I had been procrastinating on when I was going to start. But I just remember grabbing my husband and I'm like, we're going live. He was like, what? Aren't you going to get ready? Aren't you going to plan for it? I said to him, if I don't go live right now, I am not sure when it's going to happen. So we're doing this. And I remember just hitting the go live button. And on Periscope, you have to double tap for the screen to flip to you. I wasn't even sure. I was just touching everything and I broke out into a sweat. I kicked something on my way out of the door because my kids were there wondering, what is she doing? And I just got on and people just started coming in. And I was like, hello, Periscope. It's my first time. Greetings from Nigeria. I was so nervous, but I really didn't
But you
have this.
did it.
Yes, I did it. And
Yes.
I never saw this. Seriously. I mean, the first day was just, get on it, do your video. I didn't see building a brand. I didn't see the clients I have all over the world. I didn't see TEDx. I didn't see Amazon. Like, I didn't see any of that. But
Yeah.
over time, with exposure, following people like you, it was just so inspiring to see all the possibilities that could happen through Periscope.
That is such a powerful story, and I really want to touch on this. I've heard my friend Brian Fanzo say this, and you probably know Brian or have definitely seen him on Clubhouse. But he uses, and very rarely say, I'll try not to. Well, I'm not a cursor, so but he always says, "Hit the D button," just hit the button,
Yeah.
and I think that is a powerful statement because it's just so succinct, where if you can just have the courage to realize it's not about you at all.
Yeah.
And, like you just described was exactly, I've heard it over and over again, was certainly my experience. I mean, I think I was showing my nose hairs the first time I went live. So, totally understand the fear and the worry and the mess, that we sometimes worry about it. It's got to be perfect. It doesn't have to be
Right.
perfect. Nobody cares. So can you share a little bit, like, when you got started with it, what did that look like from a consistency perspective from you? Did you start, okay, I'm going to go live at a certain time every day? What did that look like for you?
Oh yeah, I think what helped me was I joined a community called Perry Newbies, and one of the things I know I heard a lot of the mentors teach was the power of consistency, and so I had a plan to go live twice a day. I was such a happy trooper. And I would go live 9 a.m. West African time and 5 p.m. I think I did that for 1 year. But even for the first few months, I wasn't really sure. People would show up. But there was this day I couldn't go live at 9 a.m. And someone sent me a message from the US, and she was like, I waited till about 2:15 a.m. for your live session before I went to bed. Are you okay? And that was when it dawned on me, oh my goodness, people are staying up to listen to me. And really, I can't stress enough how important it is for you to be consistent. So I call this, don't be a one-hit wonder. Whether it's, showing up on Clubhouse or Facebook Live, Instagram Live, there must be a plan for consistency. I think it goes a long way in building your tribe, building your community, and just showing and telling people how awesome you are.
I love that. When I started on Periscope, I didn't do twice a day, I don't think, but I did daily. Like, and
Mhm,
I would just like to say you don't necessarily have to do that today.
mhm. Oh
But the
no,
consistency factor is definitely, like, when we started, we were just throwing stuff at the wall. We didn't know what we were doing, right? We were just like,
absolutely.
okay.
Like I do once a week now. I mean,
Yeah.
not twice a day, not even daily,
Well, we've
but once
learned,
a
and
week.
we've learned, and
Mhm.
through this journey, and that's one of the things that we hope to impart to you guys. If you're interested
Right,
in, really building an amazing opportunity using live video, you learn from people who've kind of done the legwork behind you. Where
right,
you don't have to go live every day, twice a day, in order to affect the same outcome as what we accomplished through all that extra time and energy.
right.
Um, so I know you're the first African woman to trend on Periscope with over
Yay.
20 million views, y'all. Um, do you still have a good community on Periscope? I know when I know Periscope's going away, but
Yes.
I hate that. It's like a friend, right? It's like,
Yeah, my first love.
right.
My
It's like,
first love.
yes, it's like our first, like, yeah, I have a lot of affection for that platform, and it is owned by Twitter, and I have a lot of Twitter followers. So and I know we have some watching on Periscope today. But I'm curious if you still draw a big crowd on Periscope.
Oh no. So when Facebook Live came on, I pretty much switched to Facebook Live and then Instagram Live. So my Periscope days were they kind of like went cold after 2017. Plus, I had a baby. I had a baby, and it was just tough trying to be live everywhere. And I did have another big issue. So I couldn't sell my products through. Um, so there are issues, right? Okay, so this doesn't make my country perfect, but at the beginning of my journey, it was almost impossible to collect payments from people in the US and the UK because I was in Nigeria. So we have PayPal here, but PayPal here, it's just for us to buy. You can't have a PayPal account that allows you to receive money for whatever reason. And so it was a big factor for me because I had created a course, How to Win with Live Streaming. And just at the point of trying to sell it, I discovered there was no payment platform for me to use just because I lived here. And it was really devastating. So I, and that was because I was building an international following. So when Facebook Live came up, I switched to Facebook, which now allowed people within my local community, my country, to know about me. And I just stayed on, from
Good.
there.
Yeah. I know a lot of people, once Facebook rolled out a live option, a lot of people definitely moved over. And I still go live on Periscope because I had a community there, and it was stunning because it had been, over a year from the last time I went live on Periscope to
Wow.
even longer. And it is a fascinating thing when you build connection and community.
Mhm.
People still connect, which is interesting. So I would like to dig in a little bit too. I know we've touched on a couple of things that have been a byproduct of you embracing live video, but can you
Mhm.
talk a little bit about like some of the opportunities? And I know TEDx was one of, you've had two TEDx
Yeah.
opportunities so far. But what opportunities do you feel that you can directly attribute to a live video? Like you getting started on this journey, you didn't have a business when you started live video. You've
No,
evolved a business out of live video. I'd love to hear that
absolutely.
story a little bit.
Absolutely. So, I was having a baby after 12 years when I got on Periscope. Before then, I was into planning events. I absolutely loved it. But because of the 12-year gap, I felt I needed to slow down and just, take care of my body. And that's when I found out about Periscope. So building from Periscope was really from scratch because I couldn't offer event planning services to people from across the globe. And when I started learning how to go live, it became something that I just couldn't do without. I would go live everywhere. And I remember also getting an opportunity to be in write a bestseller workshop on Periscope. And I wrote a book. I wrote a book, and I didn't say that at the beginning, but I wrote a small book, and it was called Socially Speaking, My Periscope Miracles. And I shared how I was using the platform of Periscope to change the world all the way from Africa. And this was just in 4 months. And so that was like the first major thing that happened. And that book got on the Amazon bestsellers list. And so I became an Amazon bestselling author. Now that was the first. And then on the 6 month anniversary was when the channel trended. And a few months down the road, I get a message on Facebook Messenger asking me to come speak on a TEDx platform. And I was fascinated. And I asked the person, I said, "How did you find me?" And he says, "My sister watches your show." So I had what I called the daily show, the Sparkle with Naomi show. So I believe, and I still do believe, that you have the power in your hands to build a media empire. I will say that again. You have the
Yes.
power
Say
in
that
your hands.
again. Please say that like 3 or 5 times. I don't care how many. I hope you guys are hearing this. In fact, put it in the down under exactly what she's getting ready to restate. Go ahead. Go ahead, Naomi.
You have the power in your hands to build a media, no, a global media empire. So I had a show, like I couldn't wait to be invited to the Oprah show. And so I created my own show, and it was called the Sparkle with Naomi show. And so I would show up daily. And he says, "My sister watches your show, and one day she gets me to come watch. And after watching with her, she tells me, 'You have to have her as one of your speakers.'" And that was how I had my first TEDx event. Couple of months later, I get invited to Zambia to speak. And the person was also a Periscope connection. Couple of months after, I get invited to speak in Dubai. another person who follows me on Facebook Live. And I remember when I got the message and I tried to introduce myself, he was like, no, 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 don't worry. I watch your Facebook Live sessions. And so looking back, at least 99%, and I mean it, 99% of my invitations to speak around the world came from showing up live, even when this became a business. I remember someone sending me a message from the US, and she said to me, "How much do you charge?" And I said, "For what?" She said, "To teach people how to do live videos." Up until that moment, I did not know this was going to be a business. I mean, I went from charging $30 an hour to now signing up clients who pay me as much as 7,500 US dollars to work with them. I have clients now in over 23 countries and counting, all because I showed up going live. And I'm still a stay-at-home mom.
I love it. So I heard your story initially, like I shared at the beginning on Clubhouse, and it was so powerful and so in alignment, honestly. Even though my business, I had some visibility at the time I started live video, but it just added fuel to my business in so many unique and value-based ways.
Right.
So we talked about the power of showing up, and that's true
Mhm.
across the board today.
Right.
Being there for the people that need us, and every one of us has somebody that needs us.
Right.
So when you first started down this journey, because I think a lot of times people get worried that they're like, what do I say? What do I talk about? How did you figure out what type of content your people, your person, was looking for in a global community like that we have access to at our fingertips? What did that journey look like for you?
So initially, and people ask me this a lot, like, what did you start with? I really started with, the things that inspired me. And that's why I absolutely love your book, Kim. I'm actually going through it all over. And, will the real you stand up? And you talked about authenticity. In that book. And that for me was one of the most critical things when it came to showing up in the kind of content I was creating. It had to be something that was authentically me. And so I would literally just inspire people from the books I read, the movies I've watched. Up until when I started coaching and teaching about how to go live. And again, it was still about how I did it. And so I would say, okay, well, when I started, I was nervous, but this is how I show up. This is how I engage with my community. This is how I smile, and I would just teach from that place of everything that is authentic to me. And so in creating content, I really would say content is everywhere. People don't want to connect with perfect, they want to connect with you. So in Kim's words, will the real you stand up? Because that's what we're looking for. The real you. You have stories, you've got, business ideas, you've got stories about your life, you've got experiences. All of that is fantastic content for you to start your journey with. All of that.
Yeah, one of the things I really want to key in on that Naomi just said was she was talking about basically what I call relatable content, meaning
Mm,
just life, y'all. I mean, I think sometimes we get stuck in, oh, it has to be like, 5 ways to do whatever, and that's actually not true. It can be,
yeah,
I mean, just think about your morning. Everybody thinks, they say, well, my life is boring. I don't know if anybody wants to know about my life, but like, think about it. Like during the course of even my morning, I've probably had like 5 things I could have shared if I wanted to. Like that's
right,
just relatable things. Like seriously, just like I was talking about, like you have been away from your computer for a while and everything's logged you out and you have to log back in. Like that's a story. I'm sorry, it is.
right.
Content is literally everywhere. I
Mhm.
see Lakita. I hope I said that correctly. And I saw another really great question. Dee is asking, what do you say to people who are afraid and are introverts? I run into this a lot. So I'm just going to touch on this real quick, and then I want you to answer this. But I of all the people who've embraced live video, almost all of them that I'm aware of are introverts, to include myself. So being an introvert is no excuse. So what say you, Naomi?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. As a matter of fact, I've had clients who were like, I can't do this. And I'm like, you know what? Even if it's 5 minutes, just show up. I had one literally go for 2 hours. And she was like, I don't know what to say. Like, I'm freaking out. I can't do this. I'm like, just show up. You have such a powerful message. And she went live and it was so engaging. The first hour ended. She came back for another hour. I'm like, who does this? Like, this was your first week. You were so scared of showing up just because you felt, you were not all bubbly. And that's what it is. People don't want perfection. They want you. Come as your introverted self. No one is asking you to change your personality just because you want to go live. Come as you are and just allow us connect with the real you. That's all we're looking for. Nothing else, nothing more. I've also seen some very, very serious introverts become so bubbly after a few episodes. And I'm like, wait a minute, are you sure you're an introvert? Because this is a lot of energy. And I'm like, I love it. I love when I go live. I'm like, okay, all right. I hear you.
I
I
think
hear
you're
you.
telling a story. No, I think for me, it does take energy. I say I'm a social introvert because I love people and I love to connect, but usually like in small environments, smaller groups, you
Right.
got me into like a party where there's like 1,000 people I don't know. And I'm like, where's the closest wall? Cause I'm going to be on it. But but in this environment where you are able to show up and connect and talk with people and know that the right people are going to be attracted to you. Let's talk about that real quick because I think
Right.
a lot of times when we put ourselves out there, we worry that, well, some people aren't going to like us. Like, and that happens, right? I mean, we're
Oh,
not
yeah.
here to serve everybody. So has that happened to you where, you've put yourself out there, you're live, and I know this has because you were on Periscope and trolls were such a big
Yeah,
problem
the
there. So
trolls.
how do you handle that? Like, what does that look like for you?
Yeah, so I would often say on Periscope in the early days, I had people use the B word, the N word, the F word, and every other thing in between. But I never really paid attention to them because I think I came from a very strong place of knowing who I am. I'm a believer. And so I understand that, there's something a little special about me. Like there's nobody out there who has my DNA or my fingerprint. So I'm really something. And so just knowing that and being conscious of who I am never really allowed what the trolls were coming in to type when I was live. And thank God for the block finger because we could just, throw them out of the room. But I believe if you have a strong sense of purpose and you know who you are and the value of your gift, and I say this often that you are a gift. And my mentor, Dr. Miles Monroe, would say the richest place in the world is the graveyard where you have the would have, could have, should have been. People who died not blessing the world with their gift. And so in showing up, I I am on a mission to die empty. That is my life mission. And so I pay no attention to those who are not for me. Like not everyone's gonna like all of this smiley and all of this bubbly nature. Well, it's not for them. I owe it to myself to be true, to the gifts and the callings that God has placed upon my life. And so that's why I show up. And that's why I continue to do what I do and not paying attention to those who like me or those who don't like me. Yeah.
So a couple of things I want to like pull out because they're so stinking amazing. Is you talked about each and every one of us are unique, essentially. You said it much better than what I'm saying it. But I really want to key in on that because that's how we show up, y'all.
Mhm.
We show up as we authentically are. I know that term is overused potentially, but it is it is the lifeblood of success. If you're
Yeah.
out there trying to pretend to be somebody else, you are probably, people can spot a fake, or maybe not like in a hot minute, but they can, in like 2 hot minutes, they're going to spot a fake.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
if you're trying to do or be something you aren't, it's going to, you're going to probably not have a good experience across the board with
Right.
live video. But if you show up and you're okay with shining and letting people and the right people connect to you and letting the wrong ones go, you're going to be just fine. You're going to be just fine. And the other thing I wanted to pull out, and I was going to touch on it in a minute, but we're going to talk about it, dig into it a little bit more, because it really resonated with me the very first time that I connected with you, Naomi, on Clubhouse. Your bio on Clubhouse talked about you want to die empty. Think about that for a hot second, y'all. Like, just have a pause. Like, let that resonate for a second, because what does that mean? Like, in the context of so many people get to the end of their lives and they are that person who's like, man, I wished I had taken the chance. I wished I'd have done this. I wished I'd have done that. Should have done this. Should have done that. Leave it on the field, y'all. Like, now there, you said something earlier that I'm going to pull back out. You said there's never a perfect time.
Yeah.
Today is it, y'all. Today is the day. Like, so I just really appreciate that. I wanted to talk about a little bit of a personal thing, and I hope it's okay. I know you've talked about it publicly before. So one of the things that when I was doing my little back end research that you're known for, you say this quite frequently, and you said it a moment ago in a different context, but you talk about your story is your gift, or your mess is your platform, right?
Yes.
And I know that you have a powerful backstory. Well, you have multiple ones, but what we're talking about right now is obviously a part of that. But you also have, some childhood trauma that has been a part of your journey, and you've been okay. What has that brought to you as it comes to the live video and being okay with sharing that publicly? Because I think so many people are afraid to share their messes.
Right. Oh, wow. Thank you so much. Like, truly, I believe your story is your gift. At the age of 22, I ran away from home and I eloped. By 31, I had become a single mom with 2 sons and a victim of domestic abuse. And it was devastating for me because I gave up everything for this love. On the African continent, it's pretty normal for you to have your parents give you away during a wedding ceremony. So my eloping was kind of like a big taboo, on this side of the world. And my dad was just so disappointed because I have 4 sisters behind me, and I really couldn't have so much access back home, and so I was cut off. In simpler terms, I was cut off from my family for 9 years, and so to end up as a single mom, divorced, wondering how did I get here at 31? Like, that was a very defining moment. And I had a choice. Do I stay in the place of anger and bitterness, which I clearly would have been justified? Or do I take all of this and look into the future for what could be? Now, I didn't have it all so perfectly put together, but I just knew there was no dwelling in the past. I understood purpose enough to know that despite the mistakes, despite the mess, God could still give me a message. But I still didn't even go public with my story until 2016. I remember I was cooking that day and I just did a random post on Facebook about my journey of, surviving domestic abuse, going live on Periscope, and all the wonderful things that were happening. And it was as though the doors were wide open. My inbox was filled with messages. Till date, that post has had well over 1,000 shares organically. People just kept connecting with it. And I was like, okay. And that was how the Women with Stories was born. And so that became the second brand that was born simply for me just showing up and talking about my experiences. I remember in 2019, I had the privilege of speaking at the Women Economic Forum in New Delhi, India, where I stood on the stage to share this story and pick my first international award. And guess what? My host found me on a random Instagram live session and she heard me speak. She started following my journey. A couple of months later, she sends me a DM on Facebook Messenger inviting me to come all the way to India to share my story. And so it is your gift. You might have a lot of people who have gone through similar experiences with you, but your story is your gift. And it's important that you own it. It's important that you embrace it. People have asked me, aren't you ashamed? Like, don't you feel people will judge you? And I'm like, even if you do, people will judge. If you don't, people will judge. But you owe it to yourself, to bless the world with the gift of your experience. Because whatever you've gone through that you survived, that didn't kill you. I mean, if you can hear the sound of my voice, if you can see me right now, you sure are alive. And I know you've gone through stuff. And I know that you've got like some strong, what's the word? Like you've got some powerful gifts that someone out there is losing sleep, just wondering, how do I figure this out? How do I go through this? But you've gone through it, you've survived, and you owe it to us to share that gift with us. And so that's what I did.
Yes. So I'm sorry, I'm just over here like, yes, 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 say it, girl. One of the things that I think is fascinating that I've like a lot of people, I've been reluctant to share my, you look at it as crap, like, right? It's like this, the dark, the dirty, who wants to know those things? But the reality of
Ugly.
it is that we all have those things and they're a connection point. Even though everybody's experiences are slightly different, in some cases, there's a lot of similarities. It's a relatable instance where the emotion of it is incredibly powerful. So I've long said that if you can connect with people in a way that makes them laugh or cry, you've got them, you've connected with them. And bigger than that, though, is the power of the story makes people feel like they're not alone.
Yeah, true.
We think that we're the only one that has this nasty crap in our backgrounds. Not true, y'all. I mean,
Yep.
even though our head knows it, I mean, we know that other people have had, similar experiences, but it feels like it's just ours. And when somebody shares theirs and their pile looks similar to yours, and, in some cases, I heard this one time where, we think our pile of crap is so bad that we just want to escape from it until you hear somebody else's and their pile makes you want to run back to yours.
Like, give
Right?
it back to me.
Right. So
Yes.
use your stories, guys, because they're a connection point for people.
Mhm.
Now, I know that, like me, I'm very faith-based, and I do not pull any punches when it comes to that. I've always shared my faith in the social space, not from a place of judgy or like you got to
Yeah.
believe like I do. No, it's just a part of who I am, and so I let
Right.
it out, right?
Mhm.
And I know you do as well. How has that impacted you in your business when it comes to the live video component? What does that look like for you?
I think it's the most exciting part of how people connect with me because I could be live, teaching business. And then I'm like, okay, there is this scripture in the book of Proverbs, and this is what it is, and this is how it connects to your business. It is so real, it is so authentic. It comes from such a natural and from such a powerful place, knowing fully well that the Bible is a life manual. And there are principles that will work for anybody, regardless of your faith or whatever it is that you believe in. And like you said, Kim, it's a part of, who we are. I can't take out the God factor. I can't even try to take it out because it's my entire existence. The fact that I'm still here, the fact that I survived all that I went through, I mean, you better believe it. There is a God in heaven.
Yeah.
There is a God in heaven.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you say, regardless of what you believe, there are tried and true principles, I think, like, I've always found this fascinating that all of the, um, whether you call it self-help or whatever that is in the world today has its roots
Mhm.
in the Bible.
Oh,
And
yeah.
and so, I think, we'll read this self-help book and we're like, oh, okay. And instead of, realizing that that principle came from the Bible, we
Right.
assign value to that over the source of it. Anyway, I don't want to get on my bandwagon about that, but I think it is powerful for people that are faith-based to understand, regardless of your faith. It doesn't matter what you believe. You could be totally believe something different than I believe or Naomi believes. It doesn't matter. That's the point. You can still stand on it and still let it shine through you in the
Mhm.
context of what is authentic to you, if that makes
Mhm.
sense. Okay,
Absolutely.
so Naomi, I know that you are on a mission to die empty. So,
Mhm.
what are you working on right now? What is next for you? How are you going to continue to leverage live video to continue to put yourself out there and serve others?
I think it's one of the most powerful tools we have today because from the comfort of your location, you can literally connect with the entire world. So I would encourage everyone, if you've never considered going live, today's a good day to go live. I promise you, you will not regret it. Right now in my business, I am going through a bit of a transition. I'm focusing now more on the mindset of what keeps people behind the scenes. So I talk a lot about go from backstage to center stage, why be local when you can be global. And I've realized from years of coaching that there's always something at the root of it. And sometimes it's trauma. Sometimes it's growing up and having people tell you, shut up, you talk too much, you're not supposed to do this, you're not supposed to do that. And so all of that has formed a pattern that allows you or prevents you from showing up. And so now I am so passionate about helping people break all of those limiting beliefs so that they can blaze their way to the center stage. So that's what I'm up to right now. And I am focusing on helping people really overcome the mindset blocks and just allowing them to sparkle their world like only they can. So I believe there's only so much I can do. And we all have gifts and talents that the world needs. And we just the way you're showing up, Kim, we need everyone who is watching us right now and even on the replay. We need your gift. You're denying the
Yes.
world, you're denying us of your gift when you don't show up. And it's not
Yes.
fair. It's not fair.
We all come into this world. I sometimes describe it like this. We all come into this world with our own God-given talents and light, if you will. And yet,
Mhm.
so often we let the world diminish that light, for a
Right.
variety of reasons. Like we hide it under a bushel barrel, like, and we won't, don't raise the barrel up to let the light out, like, right? There's even no cracks in the barrel. So blow that barrel to pieces, y'all, and let the
Yes.
light shine because it was meant to shine. And
Mm.
and you're meant to shine because you're basically just doing a huge disservice. It's not about you. I mean, because you're pretty comfortable under that barrel, right? It's like
Right.
I can see in here. I'm good. It's okay. But it's not about us. It's about showing
Mm.
up and making a difference. And you
Right.
do have that in you. Um, I love that you really focused on that, Naomi, because I think
Thank
that
you.
people need to get to the root of what holds them back. Why
Mm,
will they not step into their potential, right? It's just so
mm,
frustrating when I know everybody has it. Like you just have to, pull it out of people sometimes. And, sometimes it's a matter of just encouragement, right? Where
mhm.
I bet you do a lot of that, where you're just
Yeah.
encouraging people and knowing that they can do bigger things. So one last question, then, well, actually I have two.
Okay.
If you could tell your younger self, like if you could go back to like maybe 18, 19, 20, when you're
Hmm.
just getting to a place where you're having to make those life decisions, what would you tell yourself?
Oh, I struggled with a lot of low self-esteem when I was younger, because I was overweight and I hated it when people called me fat. And I think it played a major role to why I decided to run away from home at the age of 22 because for the first time I felt seen and I felt heard. So if there's anything I would have told my younger self, I would have reminded her how amazing she is. I would have told her she's beautiful, regardless of her size and regardless of her skin color and her hair. Like she is uniquely made and wonderfully made. And yeah, she's beautiful. That's what I would have told my younger self. Well, that was so emotional.
I know I'm about to cry. No, I'm serious.
Oh.
No, it is one of those things we all should tell. Like even if we have our daughters or our sons that are at an
Mm,
age where the world's beating them up,
mm,
those are things they need to know. They need to hear it from somebody, so because at that age, don't you can't, you're so wrapped up in the negativity of what you're hearing that you're letting people feed you that you can't understand how amazing you are in those moments, right? So yeah, so you are amazing, girl. I am so glad that we had an opportunity to connect. You really I don't know. I just had an immediate connection. Felt like I knew you, some soul from another mother kind of thing.
yes.
Definitely appreciate the connection and the friendship. And if people want to connect with you and they want to see you live in other places, where can they find you?
Okay, so Instagram is a great place, although because of the transition, there's a lot going on. But you can find me at Center Stage Tribe. That is my Instagram handle, Center Stage Tribe. On Clubhouse, it is at Naomi Osemedua. It's my full name. Everywhere else, LinkedIn, Twitter, it's at Naomi Osemedua. But yeah, connect with me on Instagram and send me a DM if you want us to have a conversation.
I
Center
was hoping
Stage
you would
Tribe.
say that because yes, send her a DM because that way you get a chance to actually talk with her. Okay, you're
Yes.
going to be blessed by the connection. I promise.
Thank you.
Okay, so our clubhouse winners today are Deborah Hiller. I hope I say that correctly, Deborah, and Janine. Woohoo! Congrats. So if you will send, I think it's go to kimgarst.com/winner, and we will get the details from you that we can send out the invites. I'm super excited about you guys getting on Clubhouse if you're not there already.
Yes.
Okay, and our Go Social content winners are Veronica, Dee Dee, and Laquita. I hope I'm saying those names correctly. All right, guys. I'm excited. Again, go to kimgarst.com/winner. Just fill out yeah, there we go. Rhonda just popped it in for us. So go to kimgarst.com/winner. Give us your details. We'll get you all taken care of. And I'm seeing so
Excellent.
many amazing comments. Like Carolyn says, I've got so many blessings from today's talk.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Monica is saying you are amazing. She was
Oh,
right.
hi, Monica.
um, so Valerie is saying she followed you over on Clubhouse. Excellent,
Okay.
excellent, excellent.
Okay.
Um, so guys, I just want to say real quick, thank you for being with us and sticking with us to the end. I'm hoping that you did get blessed by today's show. We did focus more on the story and the byproduct of the journey today,
Mm,
because it's powerful, more powerful, I think, than the actual structure of how you like the business stuff, like, right? Like,
right.
we both just got started. So I want to go back to that. We both just got started. We hit the darn button and we threw some stuff at the wall. Okay. Um,
Mm,
today's a great day to get started. All
right.
right. All
Right.
right. Well, thank you, Naomi, for being with us. I want to thank
Thank you,
everybody that was
Kim.
with us live, that watched on the replay. You guys take care of yourselves. God bless and stay safe.
Thank you.